I used to believe the cruelest pain came from strangers, until I woke up one night and found my own sister standing over me with a pair of scissors. The sound was soft at first, like paper being torn in the dark. I reached for my hair, but it was too late. Strands fell onto my pillow like broken promises. My heart froze when I saw her face, not guilty, not scared, but satisfied. When I screamed for help, our mother rushed in, only to laugh. She looked at my uneven hair, then at my sister, and said, "She actually made you look prettier." That moment changed everything inside me. I realized I'd spent years buying their love, paying their rent, their bills, their comfort, and in return they gave me humiliation. That night I didn't just lose my hair. I lost my illusion that family always means love. What they didn't know was that they hadn't broken me. They had just handed me the match that would burn down everything they took for granted. And soon, they would learn that revenge doesn't always come with shouting. Sometimes it comes quietly, with success, peace, and a smile they'll never forget. My name is Lena Parker and I'm 25 years old. I still remember the morning that changed everything for me. It started like any other day, until I opened my eyes and felt something strange against my face. When I sat up, I saw pieces of my long brown hair all over the bed. My heart dropped. For a second I thought maybe I had dreamed it. But when I touched the back of my head, I felt the uneven ends and rough spots where my hair had been chopped off. I jumped out of bed and ran to the mirror. The reflection staring back at me didn't feel like me at all. My once smooth hair was ruined, cut short on one side, long on the other, with random chunks missing. My eyes filled with tears. I whispered, "Who would do this?" Then I heard a soft laugh behind me. Standing in the doorway was my younger sister, Chloe, with a smirk on her face. She crossed her arms and said, "Now you finally look normal. Not everyone has to think you're perfect anymore." For a few seconds I couldn't even speak. Chloe had always been jealous, but I never thought she'd go this far. I yelled, "You cut my hair while I was sleeping? Are you insane?" Her smirk grew wider. "Oh, relax. You'll survive. Maybe it'll humble you a little." That's when our mom Linda walked in, still holding her coffee mug. I pointed at Chloe, shaking. "Mom, look what she did. She cut my hair while I was asleep." Mom looked at my hair for a moment, and then, unbelievably, she laughed. "Oh, come on, Lena. Don't be so dramatic. It actually looks kind of cute. Chloe made you look even more beautiful." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My mom wasn't angry at all. She didn't even scold her. Instead, she hugged Chloe and said, "You always have such a creative eye." I felt my chest tighten. The person who was supposed to protect me was laughing at my pain. I ran back to my room, slammed the door, and cried quietly for hours. By the afternoon, I wasn't sad anymore. I was angry. I remembered how I had been paying the rent, the grocery bills, and even Chloe's college tuition since Dad passed away. Yet they treated me like I was nothing. That evening, I looked in the mirror again. My hair was uneven and messy, but my eyes looked different, stronger, colder. That was the moment I decided I'd stop being their safety net. They had no idea a big, shocking surprise was coming, one they would never forget. That night I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Chloe's smirk and Mom's laughter echoing in my mind. The pain had already started turning into something sharper: determination. If they thought I'd keep paying the bills while they humiliated me, they were wrong. The next morning I got up early and brewed coffee just like always. Mom and Chloe were sitting at the table chatting, pretending nothing had happened. When Mom saw me, she smiled like everything was fine and said, "Good morning, honey. Make sure you transfer the rent by today. The landlord called yesterday." I forced a calm smile. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll handle everything today." Inside, I was already planning my exit. After breakfast, I quietly sat at my desk and opened my laptop. One by one, I canceled every automatic payment. The rent, the utilities, even Chloe's college tuition that I had been covering since our dad died. Then I called the landlord. "Hi, this is Lena Parker," I said politely. "Starting next month, please contact my mother, Linda Parker, for all rent payments. I'm moving out." He paused. "Oh, are you sure? She's not on the lease." "I'm sure," I replied firmly. "You'll want to update that soon." By the time I finished, I felt a strange calmness. I packed my essentials into a small suitcase, took one last look at the house, and left quietly for work. A week later, I found a cozy apartment across town. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. I paid 3 months rent upfront and felt a wave of peace for the first time in years. I didn't tell them my new address. Then came the fun part, the reaction. 3 weeks later, my phone exploded with messages from Mom. Lena, why hasn't the rent been paid? The landlord came to our door. Electricity got cut off. What's happening? I simply texted back. I'm sure your beautiful daughter can handle it now. I blocked her number right after sending it. That night, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my new couch, smiling for the first time in a long while. For years I had carried them. Now they'd finally know what it felt like to stand on their own. Little did I know this was just the beginning. The real shock, the one that would change everything, was still waiting for them just around the corner. The day after I blocked their numbers, I decided to do something for myself. Something I hadn't done in years. I walked into a salon downtown, one of those modern glass-front places I used to pass by but never had time or courage to visit. The receptionist smiled and asked, "What are we doing today?" I took a deep breath and said, "A new start." They trimmed away the uneven ends Chloe had left, shaping my hair into a stylish shoulder-length cut. For the first time in months, I actually liked the person staring back at me in the mirror. My hair framed my face beautifully. I looked confident and free. The stylist smiled. "You have strong features. This look suits your energy." Energy. That word stayed with me. I realized I'd been wasting mine trying to earn love from people who only took advantage of me. After the haircut, I stopped at a small cafe, took a selfie in the sunlight and posted it online with the caption, "Sometimes you have to lose something to find yourself." I didn't expect anything to happen. But overnight the post exploded. Hundreds of comments poured in, strangers calling me brave, beautiful, and inspiring. Someone tagged a local beauty brand saying they should feature me. By the end of the week, that very brand reached out, asking if I'd like to model for their new Fresh Start campaign. I said yes. The photo shoot felt like a dream. I wore a white blouse, stood in front of soft lights and smiled, not the fake smile I used to give at home but a real one. Within days, my face was on posters around the city. My following online grew fast. I started getting sponsorships and interview requests. Meanwhile, I heard from a mutual friend that things at home weren't so perfect anymore. The rent hadn't been paid in 2 months. Chloe's college suspended her enrollment over unpaid tuition. Their electricity was cut off and Mom had to borrow money from a neighbor. When I heard that, I didn't feel guilty, I felt free. I had given them everything once. Now they were learning what life felt like without me. But what I didn't know yet was that my success was about to reach even higher, and that would push Chloe over the edge. The jealousy that made her cut my hair would soon destroy everything she had left. A few months passed and my life was changing faster than I ever imagined. My campaign with the beauty brand had gone viral, not just in Portland but across social media. People loved my story about confidence and rebirth. I was invited to podcasts, interviews, and local talk shows. Every time I shared my story, I left out the names but told the truth. When someone tries to break you, sometimes they're really just helping you rebuild. What I didn't expect was how far those words would travel. One evening, I got a message from a neighbor back home. "Hey, just so you know," she wrote, "your mom and sister aren't taking this well. They've been arguing nonstop. Chloe smashed a mirror last night." I stared at the message, part of me sad but mostly numb. For years, they'd watched me struggle quietly. Now they were struggling without me. A few days later, Chloe tried reaching out, not to apologize but to compete. She had started a new social media page, copying my captions and poses. She even chopped her hair short, trying to match my new style. But people noticed. Under her photos, the comments were brutal. "You're copying Lena. Be original. Why are you pretending to be her?" Her page filled with criticism instead of compliments. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Then one night while scrolling through my feed, I saw something unbelievable. Someone had leaked screenshots of old text messages between Chloe and Mom. In those texts, they were laughing about cutting my hair, calling me boring and too proud. One message from Mom said, "Maybe now she'll stop acting like she's better than us." The screenshots spread like wildfire. People online started defending me fiercely. My story wasn't just a makeover after betrayal anymore. It was about real family cruelty and self-worth. The comments flooded in. "Lena, you deserve everything good. Can't believe a mom would say that. This is karma at its finest." That was when I knew karma had started its work. Soon after, I got another message from the same neighbor. Your landlord evicted them. They're moving into a small rented apartment on the outskirts of town. I didn't smile this time. I just sat quietly thinking about how everything had turned. I didn't ruin their lives, they did it themselves. I used to wish for their love. Now I only wished for peace. But peace wasn't the end of this story, because fate had one last twist waiting for all of us. It all started one afternoon when I received a message from a local journalist. Her name was Rebecca Jones, and she wrote for an online magazine that focused on inspiring life stories. Lena, she said, your transformation has inspired thousands. But people want to know more. How did you stay strong after what your family did? I hesitated. I had avoided naming anyone or sharing details. I didn't want pity, I just wanted freedom. But something in her tone made me pause. Maybe it was time to let the truth speak for itself. I agreed to meet her at a small cafe in downtown Portland. She was kind, warm, and genuinely curious. I told her everything. How I had supported my mother and sister for years after Dad's death. How I paid their rent, bills, and even Chloe's college tuition. I described the night my sister cut my hair and how my mom laughed at me instead of defending me. Rebecca listened quietly, taking notes. When I finished, she said softly, you know, people need to hear this. Not to shame them, but to show others what self-respect looks like. A week later, the article went live. The headline read, From Betrayal to Breakthrough, How Lena Parker Found Strength in the Face of Family Cruelty. Within hours, it went viral. Thousands of readers shared it, leaving comments like, This story broke my heart but gave me hope. She turned pain into power. I'm never letting toxic people drain me again. But not everyone was happy about it. That evening, my phone buzzed nonstop. People were tagging me in videos and posts. Apparently, my mother and Chloe had been confronted by neighbors and relatives. Everyone now knew the truth, that I had been the one keeping their lives together all those years. An old neighbor even commented publicly. I remember Lena paying the bills and buying groceries. Her mom and sister never lifted a finger. They should be ashamed. Mom and Chloe deactivated their social media accounts within a day. Their perfect family image shattered completely. But what struck me most wasn't their downfall. It was how many strangers sent me messages thanking me for speaking out. Women from all over the country shared their own stories of being taken advantage of by jealous siblings or ungrateful parents. I realized I wasn't alone, and that made me stronger. A week later, Rebecca called again. Lena, she said, the network show Morning Voices wants to feature you next week. It could change your life. I smiled to myself. It already has. Still, I agreed to go, unaware that my next move would not only seal my success but become the final chapter of karma for the people who once laughed at my pain. The morning of the interview felt surreal. I stood backstage at the Morning Voices studio watching the hosts prepare for the live broadcast. My heart was pounding, but not from fear, from power. For years I'd been the quiet one, the people pleaser, the one who never fought back. But today the world would finally hear my story in my own words. When the cameras started rolling, one of the hosts smiled at me. Welcome, Lena Parker. Your story has touched millions. What would you say to the people who hurt you? I looked straight into the camera and said calmly, I'd say thank you. Because if they hadn't tried to break me, I never would have learned how strong I really am. The host leaned forward. And if they're watching right now? I smiled faintly. Then I hope they finally understand what love and loyalty really mean, because you can't destroy someone who built everything out of pain. The studio audience erupted in applause. After the show, my segment went viral within hours. Clips of me saying those words spread across every platform. News pages, influencers, and talk shows shared the video. People were calling me the woman who turned betrayal into success. Meanwhile, back in the old neighborhood, things had only gotten worse for Mom and Chloe. Rent payments had piled up. They'd sold most of their furniture just to stay afloat. When the show aired, neighbors gathered around their small TV to watch me. The moment they heard my words, the calm confidence in my voice, they realized how far I had come without them. That night, I received one last text from an unknown number. It was Chloe. Are you happy now, Lena? You ruined us. I stared at the message for a long moment before typing back. No, Chloe. You ruined yourself the day you picked up those scissors. Then I deleted her message and blocked the number again for good this time. A few weeks later, my partnership with the beauty brand turned into a full business deal. They offered me a contract as their official brand ambassador. I used part of the earnings to open my own small studio, a safe space for women rebuilding their confidence after emotional trauma. At the grand opening, as I stood surrounded by smiling faces and flowers, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. My short hair had grown a little, soft waves falling just above my shoulders. But what really caught my eye was the look in them, steady, peaceful, strong. I whispered under my breath, "They thought cutting my hair would destroy me. It only set me free." And for the first time in years I truly believed it. 6 months later I stood inside my studio, Lena and light, watching a group of women smiling as they tried on wigs and new hairstyles. The place had grown beyond my dreams, part beauty lounge, part healing space. Every corner smelled like fresh lavender and hope. One woman looked at me through the mirror and said softly, "Your story gave me courage to start over." I smiled. "You already had the courage, you just needed a reason to use it." Outside, the evening sun painted the Portland skyline in gold. I took a deep breath, feeling peace, something I once thought I'd never have again. Later that night, while sipping tea in my quiet apartment, I got a call from Rebecca, the journalist who'd first shared my story. "You won't believe this," she said. "Your mom and sister were mentioned in another local piece. Apparently, they're being sued by their former landlord for unpaid rent and property damage." I sat back, silent for a moment. "I'm not surprised," I said. She chuckled softly. "You really did walk away at the perfect time." After hanging up, I looked at the framed photo of my dad on the wall, the only piece of my past I kept. "I think you'd be proud of me, Dad," I whispered. For a long time I thought revenge was about making others suffer. But I learned the real revenge is peace, success without apology. My hair had grown back longer now, healthier than before. Every time I brushed it, I smiled, remembering how pain had once started this journey. And somewhere in that small apartment across town, I imagined Mom and Chloe watching my new interview, realizing the same thing I already knew, that cutting my hair was the best mistake they ever made.